This is Peyton Celesti from PA Football News on my first pit beat here at the Blue Gold Spring Game here at Acrisure Stadium. Things a little different this year. Number one, no fans. Pat Narduzzi expressed his disappointment with that, but obviously there's nothing they can do with the NFL draft approaching and there being no parking, essentially. And number two, it isn't a draft this year. Normally they have captains for each team and they draft their players, but this year it's just a regular jersey scrimmage, meaning offense versus defense. So this is the rubber match, as the offense dominated in the first scrimmage earlier this spring and the defense dominated in the second scrimmage. Well, they didn't dominate, but they won the second scrimmage. So we'll see who comes out on top. As you see behind me, they're doing some kick return drills before today's matchup. Before the scrimmage itself started, we kicked things off with some kickoff drills. Seen here, transfer Sam Hunsaker, battling to become the starting kicker for Pitt, kicks off the sophomore wide receiver Tyreek Robinson. Second-year starting quarterback Mason Heinchel hits a short out route to sophomore wide receiver Bryce Yates. And then, it's the new RB1 for Pitt, that's Jakarian Turner, cutting it to the outside, running over Josh Gurrier for a 19-yard gain. But the defense does get off the field. Heinchel with a nice deep ball here to Bryce Yates, but he can't connect, as you can see his frustration right there. But Heinchel and the offense bounce back in their second drive. Heinchel does what he did best last year, using his legs, getting outside the pocket, scrambles for a 29-yard gain. Later in the drive, we see some pressure as the linebacker blitz up the middle has Heinchel throw an incomplete check down pass to his new tight end, Carson Kent. But Heinchel, he's going to find his new target, Kent, wide open on the wheel route. That turns a 4th down and 6 into a touchdown of 14 yards. And everyone's excited for the new guy. Head coach Pat Narduzzi is going to have a tough decision on his hands when he has to pick his kicker this fall. We see both here hit their longest kicks of the day from 53 yards. Here's Sam Hunsaker, who kicked the last 2 seasons for Northern Arizona, and Antonio Chata, who kicked the previous 2 seasons for Western Illinois. While the offense did win most of the day, the defense certainly didn't go unnoticed. Especially Narduzzi's linebacker core, it looks to continue to be the backbone of this defense, despite losing star players in Rasheem Biles and Kyle Lewis. Check out the pursuit on the near side of your screen from Purdue transfer. That's Alex Sanford, who is in his senior season. He shows off his money linebacker speed right there to stop the run. Cameron Lindsay, the former Quip standout, who made a solid impression in a crowded linebacker room in his freshman season. You see him avoid the potential pick right there to make a nice play on the ball in coverage against tight end Max Hunt. Here you'll see the only sack of the day by the defense, which is definitely a great sign for a Pitt offensive line that struggled in pass protection last season. This is from redshirt junior Zach Zollers. Final play from the linebacker room. This is Davin Bruton, a man who is going to earn a lot more playing time this season after earning the Ed Conway Most Improved Defensive Player Award this spring. Look at the awareness and quickness to snip out this screen pass. Going back to the offense, that is Malik Knight, Cade Bell's newest weapon from Western Carolina, splitting the secondary and catching an absolute dime in stride from Holden Gariner. The final touchdown drive of the day was led by a few nice throws from redshirt freshman Bo Jackson. Pretty nice name for a football player, as he hits this short sideline route to convert a critical 4th down and 1. And then it's Sinquan Smith, who's listed at 5 feet 7 inches, capping off this drive with this run up the middle. The final score, according to Pat Narduzzi's complicated system of points for these scrimmages, was 46-10 in favor of the offense. How do you feel the offensive line is communicating and gelling at this time this year compared to last year?
Obviously, I feel like it was good last year, but I feel like as this O-line, because as far as the sacks we're trying to limit it, I feel like we're talking way more, especially from last year. Like I said, as far today, we're trying to limit those sacks.
What did you see from Kendall Stanley throughout spring to earn that Conway Award?
Yeah, I mean, he's played some tackle, he's played guard, he's athletic, he's put on 15 pounds. I mean, he was playing light last year, left tackle and guard, but it's another year in the program, his second spring. It's called development. It's what we do, and I just think just another year of the terminology and knowing where to go and be able to play fast. I think it's hard to play fast when you don't know what you're doing. And again, the freshmen found that out real fast. At the beginning of spring, all the freshmen are frustrated, not knowing what to do. But there was we had a ton of install on really both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. So coaches are throwing a lot at you, and you have to know what you're doing. You got to put the time in. But it takes time, and it's a process. And again, I think Kendall, it's a process. It's hard to bring one guy in for a year and develop. They need two.
Going back to Kendall for a second, do you find that guard is maybe a more natural fit for him than tackle?
I don't know. I mean, I think he can do both. I just think another year, if we were to put him in tackle today, if he was in tackle all spring, I think we could have saw the same thing. I think you'll see the same thing out of him, whether it's tackle or guard.
Were you surprised whenever you were given that award?
I definitely was surprised. I was really happy, I was being fast when I got up there, but I knew I put a lot of work in going in from the winter time to the springtime, so I knew it definitely was a lot of improvement coming along the way. So I definitely was happy, but also surprised.
Do you have a moment this spring where that growth really hit you?
I just take every single day like it's my last. Last spring I was having a good spring and I tore my labrum, so that kind of put everything in perspective for me. Just take every play and every single day as your last day. Just go as hard. I just took every day as a game day.
What did Davin do in your mind to earn the Conway Award?
Yeah, Davin's worked his tail off. I think the first thing is he's in early. He's studying the game. I think Coach Bowen's done a great job with him, developing him. But it's really fundamentals in him just becoming a better finisher. Didn't do a good job finishing. He'd be in position and maybe not finish a play. But just again, it's that knowledge part of it. He's gotten a lot more reps lately.
Holding with a couple long touchdowns today in Malik Knight. Did he do enough today to maybe create some distance for that backup spot?
We definitely wanted to see what the quarterbacks had. That's why I took the red jerseys off of them for the first time this spring. The other scrimmages, they were in red just to protect the quarterbacks. We got to the 15th one, and I think Thursday or Friday morning I decided, hey, we're taking those jerseys off and we're going to go white. Let them go live and let them get hit. A lot of them didn't get hit today, which is great for the protection offensively. Quarterbacks getting the ball out, but I thought Holden had maybe one of the best days he's had out here. He's up and down throughout the spring, but again, another guy that is really smart. That with a summer, with a spring, I'm happy with where he ended up this spring. I'm happy for him.
Coach, where do you feel that Cameron Lindsay is at this point?
Cam Lindsay's had a heck of a spring. I mean, I think we got 6 linebackers that can start for us. Probably one of our deeper positions, but Cam Lindsay had a heck of a spring. He's played really well.
Are you seeing a lot of improvement in the guys in the trenches on both sides of the balls, offensive, defensively?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I would have liked to see some sacks, but I don't want to see any sacks. You know what I'm talking about. So we'll see what the D-line looked like today. But again, you only had the ones were out there for 28 plays, so it's hard to get pressure on that. But we'll look at the tape and see where they're in position to make it. What the pass looked like. But I'm happy with both sides of the trenches.
Seemed like a pretty good day for the kickers. Any of those two separate themselves as far as field goals and just their duties there?
Again, I think we got 2 kickers. I really do. I think it's going to be a big battle in fall camp. I think we can win with both of them right now, and we'll find out who that guy's going to be. In the fall, I think. Putting game, not as clean. I'll have to go watch the tape. It's hard to tell how far those punts went. But solid day out of those guys a bit better there as well.
How did you feel Mason did today?
I thought Mason had 28 plays, which is our goal to get him 30. We got 2 less than we wanted to just because the drive ended earlier. But I thought Mason had a heck of a day. I thought put the ball at some people where it needed to be. There was a couple of tight ends on the flat route, should have caught the ball. But it's probably 65-70% completion, which I'd like it to be a little higher. Cage yelling at him to put it on him instead of, we got to catch the ball here. If it touches our hands, we got to catch it. So we'll call that a drop.
So many new faces in the secondary. How was the communication aspect?
I mean, it definitely got to get better. I mean, it was definitely good today. I feel like we ain't had no MAs in my opinion, but I feel like this is still a small detail we got to get right.
Malik Knight, the guy got a number of big plays today. So what have you seen of him over the spring?
That boy's explosive. That's one thing I would say. He's an explosive player. He's going to be a great attribute to us, so I feel like he's good.
Chris, what's the vibe around this group in spring practice?
I feel like we're physical. I feel like that's the most thing that I would say about us. We're physical team for sure.
What was the chess match between you and Mason all spring? Obviously, he's a great competitor. You got him this day, but how's it been just back and forth?
I feel like Mason got a lot better since we first got here. I feel like he's going to be a great player this year, even better than he was last year. I say the one big thing about him is his horn power. Your eyes in the wrong spot for 1 second, you're going to swing that in.
Mason, what attribute of your game since you stepped on this field last year do you feel like you've improved upon the most?
That's a really good question.
I would say, just trying to, just trusting the pocket and standing in there and delivering a ball. There were times last year where, I got a little happy feet and tried to escape and make a play and say, kind of just trusting it, and, standing in there and delivering a throw. I think that's something that I've really tried hard to work on, and obviously just footwork as well in general. I think that's such a vital piece to being, to taking that next step as a quarterback. And so I think that's just something that I've really tried to work on, and, I'm going to continue to work on, because, I can always improve, can always get better, and, we're just excited for that for sure.